because you're saying it one-sided. You're not telling the other side of the story of what they're doing either. You're not saying what Hamas did. You're not saying what they did.
What did Hamas do?
I mean, from day one, when you see the rapes and the videos, we've all seen it. This isn't something
What rapes and videos?
But stay on this here if you want to continue with this.
But what rapes and videos?
But Mike,
I have seen a lot of people try to corner Dan Bilzerian, but I don't think anyone expected him to flip the script on Patrick Bet-David like this. To me, this is one of the most revealing moments in recent podcast history. Notice the specific moment Dan stops the conversation cold. When the standard talking points about the October 7th attacks are brought up, Dan doesn't just nod along. He asks a simple, direct question. What rapes and what videos? Because there were none. In my view, this isn't just about one conflict, it's about the total breakdown of trust in media institutions. I've noticed a pattern where certain claims are repeated so often they become facts without anyone actually seeing the evidence. It reminds me of the early days of the Covington Catholic story, or the Jussie Smollett case, where the media consensus was 100% wrong, but everyone was too afraid to ask for proof. If you're tired of being told what to think, and you want to see the moment the mainstream narrative hit a brick wall, you're going to want to see the rest of this. Let's get in.
Like, Israel is the only one that has a fucking, like, a lobby in the U.S. fucking, giving these politicians money.
okay, no, every country, the big ones all have lobbyists. They all have lobbying that they're doing.
Not in the U.S. They're registered as foreign entities.
Right. I mean, if you're talking about, are you going to the dual citizenship part with Israel, Israel?
That's another problem is a lot of our politicians have far more allegiance to Israel than they do the United States. I mean, that's a whole nother issue as well.
Do you know why they did the dual citizenship? Do you know the history behind why they did the dual citizenship?
What do you mean?
Like, so the whole concept of dual citizenship was because when Israel became a, country again, they didn't want the people from here who wanted to go back to Israel that didn't have a motivation to go if they were going to lose their citizenship here. So that was the reason why they did it. It was kind of like, okay, you're your own country. We kind of need some of you guys to move over there to help the country out. Yeah, but I'm not going to go. Why are you not going to go? Am I going to lose my citizenship here? But you are. I mean, we don't do that. Every other country, I don't want to lose my citizenship. Well, okay, how about if we do this? How about if we allow you, just Israel, to go back to your country, you won't lose your citizenship? That was the arrangement at the beginning why they did it that way.
No, look, I get it. I have 3 citizenships. You know what I mean? I think it's okay. I think
what's the third one? I know Armenia, but what's the
St. Kitts.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't have an issue with dual citizenship. My issue is when somebody is holding a U.S. office and they are putting a foreign nation's interest before America's interest, and they are favoring that other country. And so that to me is treason. Like, when you are a U.S. government official, your motivation should be to do things in the best interest of the government that you are representing, not 100%. Some other fucking foreign country. And that's the problem.
Okay, so, but go through it. So what is the solution? Meaning, if Israel's the enemy, then if let's just say you don't do anything and everybody in the Middle East unites to take out Israel, do you think the Middle East is better without Israel? And do you think the world's a safer place without Israel?
100%. It's not even close.
Okay, tell me why. Why do you think?
Give me an argument otherwise, please. But give me one argument why the world would be better off with Israel. Let's just start with that. One thing. Give me one thing.
Have you ever lived in the Middle East?
No.
I lived there for 10 and a half years. It's a very, it's not as like here. You can sit here, you can be an atheist, you can be an agnostic, I can be a Christian, he can be a Jew, he can be an LDS, Muslim, no problem. We can coexist here. You can do that in Israel. You can do that.
I mean, not really. They're operating apartheid right now. So everybody's not living equally.
Not at the level of Iran. Not at the level of what Iran is doing. I mean, in Iran, if you're thinking what Israel is doing out of control, do you know how much money Khamenei's family's made? Do you know how much money they have 200?
I've never been to Iran, but I've been to Dubai, I've been to Saudi, I've been to UAE. So and they're all Muslim. They seem to be operating fine.
I would say Iran's slightly different than.
If you think Dan is hitting hard now, just wait until you see the next part. But before we continue, hit that like button and subscribe if you are enjoying this breakdown. It really helps the algorithm. I want to ask you guys a question, and you can reply in the comments. Should U.S. politicians be allowed to hold dual citizenship with any foreign nation? Or does that automatically create a conflict of interest that borders on treason? Let me know where you stand and what you think. To me, Dan Bilzerian just touched the third rail of American politics. In my view, his point about dual citizenship isn't just a history lesson, it's a massive red flag regarding where the true allegiances of our leaders lie. My take is that when you're elected to serve the American people, there shouldn't even be a 1% doubt about whose interest you're putting first. I've noticed a pattern lately where anyone who questions the influence of foreign lobbies is immediately shut down or labeled. It reminds me of the way the media treated the America First movement back in 2016. If you aren't putting a foreign nation's interests on a pedestal, they try to claim you're the problem. When PBD tries to defend the status quo by comparing the region to Iran, Dan isn't buying it. He points to his own experiences in places like Dubai and the UAE to prove that the chaos narrative is often a curated talking point used to justify endless American intervention. In my view, Dan is exposing the security argument as a total farce. He's forcing a conversation about whether the world is actually safer or if we're just being sold a bill of goods to keep the lobby money flowing. Let's watch how PBD tries to navigate this as Dan brings up the reality of apartheid and the double standards in the Middle East.
Go back to it. So you think the Middle East and the world would be a better place if Israel didn't exist?
Yes.
Okay.
Israel's committed, so many terrorist attacks. They're stealing land right now. They're operating in apartheid. They're currently committing a genocide on Palestinians. Like, do you believe in the genocide they're committing?
I think they're fighting for themselves and they're defending themselves.
Do you think that's defense?
Well,
when 1,200 people died, and of which the 1,200 you've killed and admitted that you've killed a lot during, your Hannibal.
I will tell you this. The part I question where people who are Jewish can't stand when I say this, I don't know how you, Netanyahu, claim you have the best intelligence in the world, Mossad, and you didn't know that on October 7th they're attacking
you. They knew about it. They didn't. They wanted it to happen, so they had a reason to take that. Yeah, they wanted a reason to take the land.
I totally get it.
And they killed their own citizens. And they claimed that all these people got raped. That was bullshit. They claimed beheaded babies. That was bullshit. Everything that they said was a fucking complete. Not only was it a lie, but they committed all those atrocities themselves to the Palestinians and been caught doing it. In fact, they just got caught gang raping Palestinians. How many babies have they killed? All the things that they accuse the Palestinians of or Hamas of or whatever, they're guilty of 100-fold themselves. And they've been doing that. Like October 7th wasn't the start of this. Like the start of this was Nakba. They've done so many different.
Disagree. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah, so I mean, this is not like, it's not like October 7th is like, it's all of a sudden they just came over there unsolicited and just killed people. Like they had been killing Palestinians for years and years, operating two sets of justice. It's like they have the justice for the Palestinians and the justice for the Israelis. And if you read the Talmud, like, if you're not Jewish, you're basically not a human. You're like, like cattle. If a Jew is killed by, somebody that's not Jewish, then it's the death penalty. If a Jew kills somebody that's not a Jew, then, you can't kill them. It's not the death penalty. Like they literally like segregate in their Bibles.
They're very protective of themselves. I don't think anybody can debate that. I don't think it's a...
Well, it's not the problem isn't that they're protective of themselves. The problem comes when you think that you're better than other people and you think it's okay to lie to anybody that's not a Jew. You think it's okay to steal from people that are not a Jew. You have two sets of standards. The problem with that is it allows you to rationalize anything, right? And human beings are generally self-serving creatures. So if your fundamental religious belief system allows you to operate in such a way that you believe there isn't consequences to stealing from other people, killing other people, raping, kids that are under 9 years old, like if you think those things are okay, then, how are you going to operate? Because to me, like my moral code keeps me on track.
I don't think that's what it is. I don't think it's because you're saying it one-sided. You're not telling the other side of the story on what they're doing either. You're not saying what Hamas did. You're not saying what they did.
What did Hamas do?
I mean, from day one, when you see the rapes and the videos, we've all seen it. This isn't something
what rapes and videos?
But stay on this here if you want to continue with this.
But what rapes and videos?
But my concern when you're saying Israel's doing it, you're saying the other side isn't doing anything?
No, but I'm asking. There was no rapes during October 7th. They've shown no rapes from October 7th. They showed no beheaded babies. All that was bullshit.
I'll send you stuff. No, there's plenty of stories. It's not all of them.
The Israeli articles that I saw recently said that there was only 2 babies killed. One was shot by a bullet and the other one died in a hospital. There was no babies in ovens. There was no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit. bullshit.
Okay, so go back to the part when you said they think they're better than you. You believe that Jews think they're better than everybody else.
It says it in their Bible.
Okay, but you believe they're better than everybody else. Okay.
I didn't say they're better than everybody else.
They think.
According to their scripture.
Okay, but what if...
And if you look at how they operate, right? Like they literally caught people raping Palestinian prisoners and there was riots. But the riots weren't because they were raping the prisoners. The riots were because they felt like they had the right to rape the fucking prisoners. That's why they almost had a fucking civil war, because they felt like they had the right to rape these prisoners. They felt like that was okay because they weren't Jewish. So, you know, when you have a society that operates like that, you're going to have fucking problems. And they're not the fucking most moral army. That's all fucking bullshit. And, you know, everything that they say, it's just like almost like, listen, when somebody lies to me, like if you lie to me, I'm not probably going to trust you again. You lie to me a second time, I'm definitely not going to trust you. You lie to me a third time, and I let you lie to me the third time, I'm the fucking idiot. These motherfuckers have lied like 10,000 times. So, like, I don't believe anything they say anymore.
What we just witnessed is the complete and total demolition of a decades-long narrative. Dan Bilzerian isn't just arguing here. He's systematically dismantling the official version of events that the mainstream media has spent millions of dollars to protect. To me, the most powerful part of this exchange is Dan's demand for basic truth. When he challenges the claims of beheaded babies and mass rapes by asking for the actual evidence, he exposes a massive trust gap in our information age. My take is that once you catch a source lying to you 10,000 times, as Dan puts it, you aren't a skeptic for questioning them. You're a fool if you don't. I've noticed a pattern where anyone who brings up the reality of what's happening in Gaza, or mentions the double standards in the Talmud, is immediately labeled and dismissed. It reminds me of how the media handled the early reports on the Nord Stream pipeline or the origins of the recent pandemic. If the facts don't fit the preferred narrative, they simply pretend the facts don't exist. Dan is exposing something much deeper than a border conflict. He's exposing a worldview that believes it is above accountability. In my view, when a society rioted because they felt they had a right to abuse prisoners, as Dan pointed out, the moral high ground officially vanished. I think PBD's struggle to find a counter-argument proves that the usual talking points are no longer enough to silence people who have done their own research. My moral code, like Dan's, tells me that truth shouldn't have a double standard. If you think Dan Bilzerian just said what everyone else is too afraid to say, hit that like button and let me know in the comments. Are we witnessing the end of mainstream propaganda? Make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the debates that the media doesn't want you to see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.